again, friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Amy, and I'm glad you decided to join me for chapter 42 of myself reading the book that I wrote to you. If you are interested in picking up a copy for yourself or a loved one, I will be leaving all that fun detail at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. My cat Jane is in the background. So if you like this video, just give it a big like and leave a little cat emoji in the comments, so I know that you watched it. Without further ado, let's just jump right back into this adventure. Chapter 42. Leon was delighted. His heart was pumping 1,000,000 miles per minute. The air orb at last! He stretched out his hand to get it, but the mist gave him a big, sharp, stinging sensation like that of bee stings. He retracted his hand instantly. He looked at Castilia, but she looked as much baffled as he did. "I don't understand," he said. The legend said nothing. She turned her gaze on the orb just out of the hunter's reach. She, at last, said, "I want to help you, but you need to do some things on your own now. Think, what makes you hunter of the orbs?" He looked even more perplexed. He did think. Many thoughts popped into his head. His twin? His twin had died. No, his father was taken by Nero. No, he paced as many memories and information jumbled together like an unorganized, uncoordinated dance. He paced back and forth. Then he remembered when he was named Hunter of the Orbs. Castilia had given him his twin's sword. He, on a hunch, drew his sword. He swung the blade directly across the white mist. Instantly, the mist parted, and Leon was now able to get to the orb without being stung. As soon as he had it in his hands, the glass pedestal shattered, and pieces of the shattered glass magically transformed into drops of rain. Leon strode back to his friend. He held up his prize to her. "Congratulations, Hunter of the Orbs. You have successfully retrieved 4 of the 5 orbs of the elements. Are you prepared to recover the 5th? Leon smiled at her widely. "Yes, Legend. I'm ready." She gave a slight bob of her head in response to him. Leon couldn't contain his excitement. He took Castilia in his arms and spun her around until they were both laughing like children. Once Leon placed her gently back down, they regained their composure. They headed back downstairs. "Surprise!" the other legends called out as the two returned to the temple's main area. The room was transformed from an abandoned, crumbling temple to a ballroom. There were tables, chairs, decorations, and music. "What's all this?" Leon asked, turning to Castilia. She was about to explain when Seal approached them with confidence evident in his movement. He was wearing a more formal attire than the usual legend green and brown garb. "I can answer. You see, Leon, before legends are going into a war or a really big battle, we like to have a party before. No wine, we still want to keep our wits with us, but since you have found the air orb, you must go tomorrow to Nero's fortress while the legends, flyers, and beasts have a war meeting to best assist you. I predict you will need all of us, including the elves, who could be coming very soon as well." Leon was stunned and nodded. Castilia just smiled at him like a proud older sister. She snapped her fingers. Magically, she was in a sparkling, beautiful green flowing dress. It sat on her shoulders. There was a bit of black lace around the edges. Her hair was up in a mass of curls. In her ears she wore emerald earrings. Leon was dumbfounded. He had seen Castilia before in a dress when they were at Viperland's house, but this outfit surpassed it in every way. She could pass for royalty. Close your mouth, she said dryly. He did. She smiled at him until she looked at what he was wearing. That will never do. She held her palm and blew air. Leon stole a glance down at himself and saw that he was no longer in his usual hunting attire. Instead, he was in a formal outfit that was not over the top garnish, but formal enough that a respectable hunting guide like himself would approve of. Seal nodded his approval. Would you like to dance with this lovely legend first? Seal asked teasingly, which he included with an exaggerated bow. Leon gave a lopsided grin. Knowing Castilia wasn't the fondest of dancing, Leon held out his hand. Why not? Are you up for it? He asked, while glancing toward her feet. She gave a huffed breath. Oh, you boys are ridiculous, honestly, she said, and gave a small wink to Leon. Leon began to lead Castilia to where some of the other legends were already engaged in the dance. Don't fret, Seal. I won't tire her out. That way, you can get a turn as well. Castilia was going to open her mouth with a snarky reply, but she simply nodded while Seal broke into a hearty laugh. Leon was surprised he was actually keeping in time to the music and keeping the dance steps in the correct order. Usually, he struggled with this sort of social interaction, and he usually just watched. If only his mother could see him now, he thought. She'd be so happy. His thoughts were interrupted by Castilia's voice. Okay, I admit, I'm not a good dancer. In fact, I've only ever danced with my mother, Leon confessed. Castilia didn't mind. Leon relaxed. Leon, relax. You're doing fine. Sure, you've missed a few steps, but I assure you none of the legends care. Leon let out a deep breath and took his friend's advice. The dance then came to an end. Leon led Castilia back to where Seal was standing calmly with a goblet of cold tea. As Leon was about to take a seat, another female legend approached Leon. She wore a beautiful beaded pale pink dress. Please dance with me, Hunter, she asked politely and did a small curtsy. Leon was about to say no, but he told himself to be more relaxed. It didn't hurt. She was attractive. He made a short courteous bow and answered back, All right, dear lady, but I will warn you now, I'm certainly not light on my feet. She replied back to him slightly. Well, we have something in common. He extended his hand and led her to the dance floor. Castilia could hear the brief exchange of introductions as the two walked past her. Leon was too caught up in the moment and lost sight and track of Castilia and Seal. While the legends were enjoying their party, Prince Nero was also celebrating. True, he had temporarily couldn't find the hunter and legend, but he wasn't extremely concerned by this. He knew that sooner or later they would have to come to his fortress. Blinken had summoned the warriors that Nero had wanted. Nero sat upon the dais and raised his glass in a toast. The onlookers did the same. One who was not pleased to be there was June. She spoke up. What have you done, Nero? This is madness. Nero lazily glanced in her direction. June, if you had only done what I had asked, none of this would be happening. Guards, take her away, he said, with a wave of his hand. Two large men took and seized her by the arms. She called out for John, but his attitude was unfazed, and it appeared he did not care and merely looked at Nero for further instruction. The prince shook his head no. John just bobbed his head like a soldier would after hearing an order and remained where he was. Soon after June had been taken out, Nero spoke again. Rifa, I need to speak with you in private after the meal. It cannot wait any longer. Rifa just nodded as she, along with all the others present, were seated for the meal, along with Nero himself. The 2 doors opened, and the guards had returned. After the meal was finished, both Rifa and Nero remained in the room. Nero had been very satisfied with his wizard and witch. Queen Rifa, that is what they used to call you, wasn't it? Nero asked. Rifa, for the first time, didn't make eye contact with the prince, but instead glanced away as if hearing the name stirred up bad memories associated with the title. Well, Nero barked out. Yes, my lord, I used to be the queen of all the witches. Nero admired her, for he barked at her. She did not quiver with fear. I need you to answer honestly. Do you think of children? Rifa swayed slightly. Beg your pardon? She answered. Nero lazily adjusted his sapphire ring and repeated the question. What do you think of children? Rifa was quiet for a tick, then replied, I was with child once, but it was stillborn. Does it grieve you? Nero turned and came up next to her. Does it grieve you much? Again, Rifa could not bring herself to look upon her master's face. It was a long time ago, but every day I wish I could hold it in my arms. Foolish, I know. The tone of her voice had changed from confident to being it had cracked with sorrow. Nero took one of her hands and patted it reassuringly. There, dear witch. How would you like to be with child again, and this time carry it to term? Rifa, at these words at last, gazed upon Nero. Forgive me, lord, but how is that in your plans? Nero cracked the faintest hint of a smile and produced a small glass bottle with a small glass stopper. If the worst is to happen and I die, I need you to carry out my work, and I want you to carry my child and raise him or her to be the next ruler. It will only take effect if I am dead, he said, and let her soak this new information for a few minutes. Rifa then replied, Are you requiring me to lay with you? Rifa asked, not beating around the bush. Nero chuckled at this statement. No, as tempting as you are, my dear, I know witches don't enjoy laying with men with too much power due to the tendency that they can leech their partner's power and in some rare cases kill them from receiving too much when they mingle it with pleasures. He paused for a breath and continued, I have saved us time and concocted a potion for you to take that has dark magic that will not only make a baby in your womb, but allow birth it as well. He handed the small glass bottle to her. Rifa opened it and took a small sniff. She could smell blood, sweat, and tears, along with a few other things she could not identify. She tipped her head back and drank the mixture without hesitation. Nero was pleased with himself. I'm depending on you, Rifa, he said, with more of a warning than anything, as he strolled out of the room. Rifa just nodded. Blinken stepped out of the shadows. He didn't hear what was said, but he needed to speak with Nero as soon as possible. The thought that Rifa could find more favor with her than with him irritated him, and he had to show Nero he was more valuable than she, and that Rifa was no longer needed. So that is all the chapter for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story and want to read it on your own or along with me, or if you want to share this book with a friend or a loved one, my book is available online at all places that include Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Apple iBooks, and lots of other places books are sold online. It would mean so much to me if you got a book from me. That would mean the world to me. I also have a Facebook page dedicated to all things Legends, Orbs of the Elements. There I try to write an article Monday through Friday about different aspects of my book and story. And the last article I have written was about cannibal gnomes. Another article is about how I crafted and came up with the names of Leon and Castilia. Another article features my 3 baddies, Nero, Rifa, and Blinken. I do my best to keep my articles spoiler-free as possible, so you can listen along with me and find out some cool facts without being spoiled. Like I said, I try to write an article Monday through Friday. Sometimes they're long, sometimes they're short. But that is really fun for me to do, and another way I can reach out to you guys and share. So that is all the video for today. Thank you so much for watching, and as they say in my book, may the elements protect you, and I will see you guys tomorrow for chapter 43. Bye-bye for now, everybody.